Just finding a place where we can sit comfortably. I've got my old friend, my old friend, the bolster. But if you want bricks or blocks or anything to make yourself comfortable, get them underneath the hips. You don't have to sit cross-legged either. Sitting with the legs out long in front of you is perfectly acceptable. Even sitting on your knees in Virasana will work perfectly well. What we're going to do is we're going to take the first few moments of this practice to kind of just tune in. Sometimes, even though it's first thing in the morning, the inevitable buzz from the outside world has a tendency to start trying to sneak its way into our lives. But with your head above your heart and your heart above your pelvis, let's place the backs of the hands either to the tops of the knees or maybe rest them underneath the belly button. If you like, you can even bring the hands to prayer and the prayer to the heart. Take a deep breath in, a nice long, slow inhale. And when you reach the peak, open up your mouth, let it go with a gentle sigh. See if you can relax your shoulders, close your eyes. One of the greatest things about yoga is that it gives us a sense of balance. It can give us a sense of direction. So especially when we start these early practices, it's a good idea to either set an intention, or perhaps if you have an affirmation for your practice, or something that can guide you along to remind yourself of, well, why you get up this time in the morning to get onto the mat. Now, some of us may already have that. We may already have that reason. But if you don't, feel free to use mine. It was given to me by one of my first serious teachers. He said, I am here to be healthy, I'm here to be wealthy, and I'm here to be wise. And with that as our guidance, let's release both the hands, and we're going to take the big sweep up the sides of the walls. So as you inhale, release the hands, reach them up the sides of the walls, all the way up to the sky, so we can reunite them in prayer, that perfect side of balance above our crown. And as we exhale, let's lower the prayer down in front of the eyes. Here we can open up this portion of the practice with the chanting of 3 Oms. Take a deep breath in. Lower the breath in front of the mouth or throat. And the breath in front of the heart. Now, our practice can officially begin. Taking the hands down towards the knees, relax the shoulders once again. We're going to start nice and low today. We're going to start in the lower pelvis. We're going to start in the lower abdomen. I'm going to start with a gentle Sufi grind. Now what this is essentially we're taking the pelvis like a big old stirring pot and the spine like a big old spoon. And as you inhale, gently lean forward. It doesn't have to be far. And I'm going to start going left and back. And I'm going to bring myself around, right and forward. So a gentle circle, instigated nice and low into the hips. Almost as if you were looking at yourself from the top. We're taking the belly button and we're drawing a circle around the base of the spine. Like I said earlier, it does not have to be an extreme motion at all. If we can, link the motion to your breath. But what we want to do is take the upper body and allow its motion just to gently start to soften up the connective tissue that rests in the lower back and rests through the ball and socket joints of the hips. And very much like a cat-cow, allow us the opportunity to explore the functionality, but also the freedom that the spine's structure offers us. Because the spinal column, stacked up with many different bones on top of each other, our vertebra, well, it's got quite a universal nature. And the more we draw these circles with the lower abdomen, the more the belly button can come around. The more the belly button goes around, we can start to translate this just underneath the shoulder blades, or maybe even in between the shoulder blades. And as you breathe and move, we can start to maybe give the shoulders a little roll. Maybe say hi to the neck and the head. And you just take all the motion within our range of motion. Not to force or fight, but just to invite that little bit of freedom. And as you continue, feel free to make those circles bigger. We're going to do this for about another 60 seconds before we change direction. Use the freedom to explore the space that is offered. And I've started with quite small circles. But listen to your body. Feel where it takes you. Breathe and move. Tell you what, let's do 2 more breaths in this direction, then we're going to change our way. So perhaps using your next inhale, let's make that circle a little bit smaller. Come back into the center, and then we can also swap the cross on our legs if you are sitting cross-legged. Take the opposite shin in the front, just to make sure that we're placing all even pressure through the body. Once again, inhale, sit up and lengthen. This time I'm going to go clockwise. Don't get me wrong, if you started clockwise the first way around, feel free just to change, go anti-clockwise this way. I'm sure there's ideas of which way you should go first. But instead of following rules, strict regulations, let's once again invite this idea of freedom. And the breath really doing the majority of the heavy lifting here. Guiding us through. And even though we are stirring the pot of the pelvis, the breath allows us that lovely sense of like a breaking wave. As the ocean gently pours in and out of the coastline. It's particularly nice for the connective tissue in the lower back. There's a big old diamond-shaped piece of connective tissue that just rests by the sacrum. This could be really nice for just loosening it up, bringing in a little bit of warmth, giving it a little bit of love. Also, now that we've had the opportunity to stir up our energy a little bit, we can start to give it a little bit more direction. Perhaps settle some that need settling. Shake off some that we no longer require. And set ourselves up for a day of greatness. Now, before we get stuck here, let's take another 2 breaths. And then I want to particularly give the head and shoulders a little bit of love. So using the next inhale to draw ourselves once again back into the center, let's release both hands and reach up towards the sky. Looking up towards your thumbs, unite the hands in prayer above your crown, pull the belly button in. And as we exhale, bring the prayer down to the heart center. We're going to tuck the chin gently round the back. Sitting up nice and tall, we're going to take our first gentle twist. Taking the chin towards the left shoulder, move the prayer towards the right. And as we exhale, swap that over, moving the prayer towards the left and the chin towards the right. Inhale, let's do that again. Release both hands, reach up towards the sky, look up to your thumbs. We're gently squeezing the back of the neck. And exhale, when we bring the prayer down to the heart, we're tucking the chin, we're lengthening the back of the neck, allowing it to be nice and long. A little twist, sit up tall again, chin goes one way, prayer goes the other. And exhale, swap it over, chin goes one way, prayer goes the other. Third time is the charm. Releasing that, inhale, once again reach up to the sky, look up to your thumbs. Exhale, prayer to heart, back of the neck lengthens as the shoulder blades separate and the top back opens. Sitting up tall again, let's twist, going one way. And exhale, we can swap that over, go straight onto the other side. Perfect. Using the inhale to draw yourself back into the center, the hands can go back down to the legs. Once again, feel free to swap the cross on the legs at any stage if you want to. If you're obviously not sitting cross-legged, don't worry about that. Sitting up nice and tall, we can then gently drop the chin down towards the breastbone. So as you can imagine, if you were looking at your phone, we just want to let the weight of the head stretch out the back of the neck and rest the shoulders down. Allow the shoulder blades almost to melt down the side of the back. We're going to breathe, filling the belly up full of air, allowing the rib cage to expand. And as we exhale, once again, gently pulling the belly button in. All right, let's give the head a little roll. I'm going to start going to the left. So I'm going to take my left ear to the left shoulder, then reach my nose up to the sky, then take the right ear to the right shoulder, and the chin back down to the breastbone. Let's do 3 circles in this direction, not forcing the head around, but just letting it roll through its range. Just observing any discomfort, any pops or clicks. And then when the chin touches the breastbone again, let's change direction and go the other way, drawing 3 big circles with the head. Now let's get in that anti-clockwise direction. Once we've done the 3rd circle, we're going to come back into the center. And lifting the crown of the head up, let's open up the arms into cactus and begin by giving ourselves a hug. I'm going to go left over right, grabbing hold of either the tops of the arms or the tops of the shoulders. And once we've got ourselves into a little hug, take another nice deep breath in. As you exhale, let's take a gentle twist. So taking the upper body, and almost like you were giving yourself a big hug, like if you hadn't seen yourself in ages. Picking yourself up in a big bear hug, a big squeeze. As you breathe, allow the ribcage to still expand. So you're taking a lovely chance to open up the back body, especially if there is tension around the shoulders, the back of the neck or the shoulder blades. Just kind of give that a little bit of space. 2 more breaths here. And then we'll swap sides. Coming back into the center, release the arms, inhale, open them up into cactus again, and then we're going to go right over left, or whichever the opposite bind you had. And don't get me wrong, if you want to, you can go full on Galandasan, you can lift the hands up towards the sky if you want to. I think this time in the morning, just to loosen up, soften up, holding onto the tops of the shoulders should be more than adequate. Good, 2 more breaths here. And then I'd like to roll us over onto the back body. So when you're ready, draw yourself back into the middle. We can release the arms. A gentle counter pose. Draw the shoulders back towards each other and have a little back bend. As we exhale, we can straighten up and bring the hands back down to the legs. All right, like I said, we're going to roll over onto the back. So if, like me, you're sitting on any props, let's shimmy those guys out of the way. And bring the shoulders down towards the ground. And we're going to start with the heels nice and close to the bum. Once the shoulders touch, take a little bit of time just to make sure that you're comfortable. Rock and roll from side to side. We've given the shoulder blades a little bit of love now, so it's worth our while to make sure that they're comfy. Tuck the chin in to make sure, well, not fully tucked in, but just a gentle tuck of the chin to lengthen out the back of the neck. And then we're going to draw the heels up towards the bum. The hands can go nice and wide if we have the space. If you don't have the space, cactus arms, perfectly acceptable, palms facing the sky. With the heels close to the bum and the feet about hip width distance apart, we're now going to start to windshield wiper the legs. Very similar to what we did to the upper body. We're sort of just adding that mobile twist. But now, because there's no real pressure on the legs, because the upper body's down, we've got a little bit more play into the knee, into the ankle, and into the ball and socket joint of the hip. For me, one of the things I find is if we want to target the lower part of the spine, we need to separate the feet a little bit. So I usually start out a little bit wider here and just make sure that the knees, the hips, and the sacrum, the place where the spine meets the pelvis, that it gets a nice little individual bit of love. However, it is going to be nice to take these a little bit higher into the spine. So gently walking the feet, maybe hip width distance apart, maybe even a little bit closer. When we windshield wiper the legs from left to right, it starts to lift the hips slightly. So with the knees going to the right, the left hip comes up a little bit. With the knees going to the left, the right hip comes up a little bit. This takes the twist further up the back. With the legs all the way together, you might even find that you can take that twist past the shoulder blades. But keep the shoulders nice and secure onto the ground here. They're our firmament, they're our foundation. And they're the things that are going to allow us the freedom through the hips. Good. Alright, one more breath here. And then using the next inhale, draw the knees back up into the center. And then we're going to bring both knees up into the chest. Now you can either hold behind the knees or around the shins. Either way is good. You might want to once again have a little rock from side to side, especially if the lower back started to creep up to itself, just to provide a lovely, nice big footprint of the back body on the mat. Take the left knee in the left hand, the right knee in the right hand, then we're going to separate the legs slightly. Not really bringing the knees up to the armpits just yet, but just hugging them into the body. Now that the feet are free, let's give them a roll. Draw some circles with the ankles one way and the other. If you like, give the toes a little wiggle at the same time. If you'd like to get the brain involved, you don't just have to rotate the ankles in one direction. You can send them in opposite directions, or maybe even throw them a little bit out of sync. Really allow yourself that little bit of fun play. Maybe something simple, but it works quite nicely. Keep the brain moving. Keep the body moving. And what's nice about this as well, with the knees up into the chest, we've taken a little bit of time to lengthen out the buttocks, to lengthen out the lower back. This, however, we are going to counterpose because we're now going to raise ourselves up into a hip bridge. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. And for this, we bring the soles of the feet down, heels up towards the bum, feet about hip width distance apart. Hands can go down next to you, palm side down. And we're going to press with the feet and gently begin to lift the bum up off the ground. No weight in the head, no weight in the back of the neck. So let's push with the shoulders, let's push with the feet and engage that posterior chain of muscle in the back. So we're squeezing the buttocks, we're squeezing the shoulder blades, we're gently shortening out the hamstring in the back of the leg. Once you've reached the peak of your pose, as you exhale, gently come down from the shoulders to the bum, vertebra by vertebra, all the way down. Let's do that again. Inhale, lift the bum up. So we're squeezing the back body. So conversely, we're opening up the front, the hip flexors, the thighs, the heart center, opening up. As we exhale, come down again. Let's do that 2 more times. So the inhale lifts us. Doesn't have to be an extreme action, but we are going to squeeze the muscles for support. Exhale, we release them with discipline, bringing the body down. And one more. Inhale, bum comes up. And exhale, bum comes down. Great. Drawing the knees back up in towards the chest once the bum touches. Let's grab hold of the back of the knee. And then I'm going to ask you just to give the legs a gentle kick. Doesn't have to be extreme. But we're going to lift alternative heels up towards the sky and then let the heel come back. And maybe to kick ourselves in the bum. Somebody's got to. It may as well be us. Also just to promote that lovely little bit of blood flow. And just make sure those muscles are firing nicely. Nice. One more breath here. And then let's bring the feet back down. I'm going to open up the knees like a book. Supta Baddha Konasana. Placing the soles of the feet together and allowing the knees to open up like a book. If this is uncomfortable, you're very welcome to place something underneath the knees for a little bit of support. Whether it be a block or a book or a bolster or something. If this still doesn't work, if it still feels uncomfortable, feel free to push the heels a little bit further away from the bum. So we have a bit more of a diamond shape in the legs than a triangle. And it just helps support the lower back. So we don't want too much of a spinal arch here. So a gentle tuck of the tail, a little bit of posterior tilt. We're now going to take the right hand and place it on top of the belly button. We're going to take the left hand and place it on top of the heart. We're going to synchronize a little bit of breath to close up the practice. So beginning quite simply, sama vritti, sama, even, vritti, fluctuations. Pick your favorite number. Well, between 1 and 10. And then as you inhale, use that number to count out your breath. And as you exhale, release the same number that you brought in. So for example, if the number is 5, you'll inhale 5, 4, 3, 2, and exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, and inhale 4, 3, 2, and exhale 5. Whatever your number is though, obviously within reason, let that be your little space of security. If you'd like to add an extra complication, we can add a retention of the breath. So for example, if the number is 5, box breath, you'll inhale, breathe in for the 5. You'll then hold for 5, exhale for 5, and hold for 5. So inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. Now whatever number works for you, feel free to program that into the system. And if the retention doesn't work, don't do it. Simple as that. In and out is a perfectly good place to be. And 2 more rounds. Once you've taken your next exhale, let's move ourselves into Ananda Balasana, Happy Baby. And this is going to be our penultimate practice, or penultimate pose for the practice. So to get into the Happy Baby from here, once again, let's activate the core. So even with the legs open, we can squeeze the bum, we can squeeze the genitals, we can pull the belly button in. Once we do that, let's see if we can lift the feet up off the ground. If available, maybe grabbing behind the knees and drawing the knees up towards the armpits. Or if we can, reaching between the legs to either grab the big toe or the outside of the foot And then draw the knee up towards the armpit as we swoop through with the tail. A nice little bit of length into the back body. Nice little bit of strength into the hip. A nice little stretch if you want to, lengthening the legs out. We'll take another 3 breaths here. Of course, if you want to give the legs a little bicycle, if there's anything else that you'd like to do here, maybe if you even have a halasana plow pose in your practice, if you want to lift the hips above the shoulders, you're very welcome to do that. Don't feel that you have to though. Just an option for those of us that do have this in our practice. Either way, we're going to draw the knees back up into the chest. Slowly start bringing the bum back down towards the ground. And releasing the soles of the feet down. Once you're done, let's take another little twist. So dropping the knees from side to side. I would say let's go 2, maybe 3 times each side. Once again to unfurl any energy that's rolling through the spine. And properly loosen ourselves up for the day. Now that we're done here, I'm going to invite you, although if you want to, you're very welcome to just kick the legs out and stay in Shavasana for a while if you have the time. Why not? If not, however, let's bring the knees back up into the chest and bring ourselves back up into a seat. Either rolling over onto the side or rocking and rolling along the length of the spine. And coming up to the place where we first met today, let's sit up nice and tall with the head somewhere above the heart. The heart, somewhere above the pelvis. The palms either open to the sky or the prayer to the heart. And just to reflect on your intention for your practice today. If I've learned anything about yoga, if I've learned anything about the law of the universe, it's that there's one constant in the world, and that's change. Remember, friends, that when we set our intentions, when we set our desires for the world, although it's a good thing to have these goals, because they keep us motivated, allow them the opportunity to change if they need to. The more we hold on to things, the more we have this opportunity to find suffering. And if yoga is anything, it is moksha shastra, it is the liberation from suffering. So allow yourself to change. Allow yourself to be the best version of yourself at any given time. With this in mind, release both hands, reach them up towards the sky. Once again, unite the hands in prayer above your crown. And here we can take the equanimity, the peace of the heavens, and we can lower it down to between the eyes. And safe in its knowledge and safe in its love, may peace be with our thoughts. Lowering the prayer down in front of the mouth or the throat. Using the truth as our guide, may peace be with our actions. And then lowering the prayer in front of the heart. Using unconditional love as our guide. May peace be with our hearts. We're going to close the practice as we've begun, but we're just going to take the chanting of one Om. Deep breath in. And friends, until we see each other again, and honestly, because it's the best way to say it, that light, the life, the prana that resides inside me, I see, I honor, and I bow to the life in you. Namaste. Friends, have a wonderful day. Good job as always. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and a wonderful week.